Chargers pulled out a victory against the Chiefs in Sao Paulo, Brazil in game one of week one of the NFL season. So let's break down the positive, the negatives, and what the improvements can be going into week two against the Raiders. Let's get into it. Chargers fans, we are 1-0, baby. 1-0. And I got my guy, Young RG, with me today.
Yes, sir.
Break down this Chargers victory against the Chiefs. Divisional game, 1-0. Listen, as this video said, who got it better than us right now? We're riding high.
Nobody.
That's right. That's right. We are riding high. We're riding the wave right now. So, yes. So, at least till Monday, when we get back to business and talk about these Raiders, we're going to enjoy this victory in this righteous win that the Chargers pulled out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we're going to play like this, man. Let's play every game in Brazil. That's all I can say.
Oh, man. Hey, all I'm going to say is last team to win in Brazil went on to win a ring.
That is a good point. That is a good point. I hope that rings true, but I'm not going to put the cart before the horse.
All I'm going to say, I'm going to throw out that stat. Y'all do with it what you will.
Put it out to ether, make it cook. I understand. I'm with it. So, yes, the Eagles definitely got would always the Super Bowl they wanted last year after winning in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So, hey, maybe that's some omen. Hey, maybe, it's some type of, good juju in that stadium. I don't know.
There's some ancestral magic in that stadium there that blesses whatever team wins. So,
that's right. Hey, I'm not mad. So, yes, the Chargers got a victory 27-21 against the Chiefs. So we're going to break down the victory, and we're going to talk about it in great detail. So like I said, we're going to do our post-game analysis for game one, week one versus the Chiefs. So to start us off here, we're going to talk about, what the positives and what the negatives were in the game and what the improvements are. So we're going to get through all that and break down all the stats that happened in the game. So to start it off, like I said, we won 27-21. On a Justin Herbert scramble to close the game out. Third and long, ironically enough, Chris Jones took a gamble, went inside on Trey Pipkins, beat him. Justin Herbert got outside with that mobility and ran the first down and slid in fashion to close the game out. Gave the good first down sign. And hey, as a matter of fact, did you see the NFL's Twitter today?
Yeah, that header.
Yes, the header had Herbert sliding. Yes, that was beautiful.
Hey, man. It was so fitting too, because I don't know if many people remember, but the very first play of the Chargers regular season was a Herbert scramble. So it was only fitting that the last play of this game, well, obviously the kneel downs, but the effective last play of this game was yet another Herbert scramble. And I think that is going to be looking back on week one, let's say week 8, like 2 months from now. We're going to see kind of like how this week projected what's to come, because I truly think this is going to be the year where Herbert uses his legs more than ever. Had we done it, and I should have done it. We were talking about bet videos and things like that. Mm-hmm. One of my prop favorites for the season long was Herbert over on the rushing yards, because I thought they were going to let him use his legs way more than ever. And it only made sense with a Greg Roman offense, Coach Lamar, Coach Colin Kaepernick. Like, he's had all these running quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks in his offenses. And we will definitely talk about Greg Roman and nothing but great things in this game, because I think we were very impressed with the offensive game plan he came out with. But we'll put that aside for now. Just overall, it's the type of quarterback that Greg Roman loves. So it doesn't shock me. I mean, we've seen Herbert win games. We saw him win games in college with his legs. He won the Rose Bowl with his legs, 2 rushing touchdowns, over 60 yards rushing. Like, he has that in him. And I'm not saying he's Lamar, but he he can be a Patrick Mahomes, a very effective runner on those 3rd and longs, on those plays where nothing's open, nothing, everything's broken down, tight coverage everywhere. I got to go. And this season, we're seeing that confidence to go immediately. There is no hesitation with the, should I throw it? I still have it. No, he's like, I got nothing. Boom, I'm gone. And he's picking up 5, 10, 15 yards when he needs it. And it's beautiful to see.
Awesome. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I definitely agree with all those sentiments. I couldn't agree more. Definitely utilizing his legs when it calls for it, and the simple fact that, like you said, he does not hesitate. And the idea of that is the wave now. Now he wants to be, or he kind of had that in the past where he want to kind of be stoic in a pocket and be a pocket guy. He's not a pocket guy. He can run. He can run. I mean, we seen a few years ago, he made that masterful run against the Steelers where Cameron Hayward, gave him a suplex after it. He practically gave him a body slam, or a splash, I guess you can say, at the end of it. But yeah, he can take off and run if he needs to. I mean, he's no slouch. I think he's runs something like a 4.7 40 or something in that range.
And for a dude his size,
that's 6'6". Yes, you're like a gazelle.
More than enough.
Yeah, you're right. Indeed. So yeah, the game definitely was inciting, nail biting in certain places, but
it always is with us.
I know. We kind of used to it at this point. Yeah. But I did want to point out one thing about this box before we move on, is that they held the Chiefs to field goals in the first half. That is something to behold. That's not something to sneeze at or slouch at, for sure. So I definitely believe that's a catalyst to propel them through the entirety of the game, and they got points in every quarter. That's another thing I want to point out with the Chargers. Got touchdowns in every quarter except for the second. I think they got 2 field goals. So yeah, definitely look good, throughout the entirety of the game, because my criticism has been, at least especially last year, that they have lulls where in the second quarter, sometimes the third quarter, they come out and be flat, don't move the ball, and allow teams to either come back, stay in the game, or ultimately take the lead on them. And that was always a detriment. So definitely kudos to that for fixing that for at least one game.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit in the pre-show too as well. This is the first time in a while. I was trying to look it up before, I wasn't quite able to, but this was the first time, at least that I can remember in recent Chargers history, where the Chargers led from start to finish. They first drive of the game, 3 and out for the Chiefs, punt back to the Chargers. They immediately go down, score a touchdown on that QJ pass, his first of the night, and they never look back. It was just smooth sailing from there. Herbert was in total control of this offense, and oh man, I'm getting ahead of myself. So much good to talk about in this game.
Right. Well, let's talk about the numbers. So in the team stat department, they won all the major categories, not by a large margin, but they won all the major categories. And this is one of the things I underscored in my preview, what the keys to victory were. Time of possession was one of them. They won 32 minutes and 27. They ran, I think they ran a few more plays than them. I think it was 5 more plays. 4 more plays than the Chiefs did. Ironically enough, they outpassed them in 304 to 249. But the weird thing is, with Patrick Mahomes scrambling, they outrushed us by 8 yards, which is not a thing that typically happens. But hey, less penalties, 49 for us, 10 to 71 for them. So yeah, first downs, I think we were ahead of them in first down. So yeah, it's definitely a stat worth noting that they were really good on third down as well, 7 to 13. Where conversely, the Chiefs were not for most part at 5 of 14. So yeah, it was definitely a game that you can look on paper as well as watch the game in yourself and say they definitely won the game, hands down, for sure. Definitely won it.
And they won it in such what many people would consider an unconventional Greg Roman way. They came out throwing.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about
that.
Yes. Another thing I talked about this week is the fact that I was concerned about Greg Roman's play calling. So yeah, we'll get to that in a second, but let's just talk about the stats real quick. As far as what happened, I mean, Justin Herbert put on a masterclass, 25 of 34, 3 for 18, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did take 3 sacks, but I'm gonna break that down in the next segment. But 88 QBR, 131 quarterback rating, masterful work.
131 rating is wild.
131, yeah, I know.
Against the Chiefs defense, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Now, what's interesting is the run game didn't really get going, and I'm going to really put that on the Chiefs' run defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I'm going to preface this and tell people that play fantasy football: if you have a running back going against the Chiefs this year, hedge your bet, because their running defense is stout. You hear
It's
me? It
elite.
is stout. Because even times where we broke a couple of Mario Hampton runs, he got caught
Swarmed.
in
Yep.
the second level, and then he could have been broken for big runs. And any other team that runs that ball against, it's probably a touchdown, and they stopped it. Even at the second level. So I give them a lot of credit. They stopped a few runs at the line of scrimmage. So yeah, they definitely play where that particular I guess you can say flavor of Spagnola's defense is good. It's definitely good. So I give him credit for that. They just couldn't stop Herbert on those key scrambles he had.
No. And this is what we can, well, specifically with the run game, even though Omarion Hampton only had, like you see, 3.2 yards per carry, a good amount of those runs, probably like 5 of the 15, were probably those 1 negative yard rush stuffs.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs, their penetration up front, is just absolutely unrivaled in this league. I mean, Chris Jones is a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
No denying it. They give George Karlaftis the big contract, have a couple of Charles Omenihu, a couple of other younger guys on that D line that they're really excited about. One of their third round rookies, the name is blanking on me right now, but he kind of showed us some flashes as well. And I just think that, so I say all that by saying Hampton gave you a lot of those, a third of those negative, 1 yard rushes, but 5 of his rushes were also 10-yard pickups. He had some nice
plays.
Yes, some explosive first down pickup runs. So he, in the moment when he needed to, got a good run for his team. And this is a tough environment for a rookie running back, essentially on the road, international game against the reigning AFC champions. And, let's be honest, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, you look across the field, you see Mahomes as a rookie, you're like, like, damn. So I say all that for everybody that was upset with Hampton, pipe down. He's gonna be fine, y'all. He's gonna be fine.
It's only one game. Trust me. It's one of the best run defense in the league, bar none. So yes, it'll get better. Trust and believe me. And if you watch football like we do, you notice that it's there. Like I said about them breaking those runs, like them, corralling him with 2 and 3 people at the second level was the only thing that stopped him from breaking a long run. It's happening. It's going to happen. You just wait.
Dude, in my mind, watching Hampton this game, I was like, oh man, against like. I'm not trying to be like mean here, but like against the Jags, against some of these like weaker defenses.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, we going to the apartments on those. We going to the apartments on those for sure.
Oh, brother.
So yes, I definitely believe that it's going to get better. I think it's just one of those things where it was a matchup issue, and what they did well, and we're going to talk about Greg Roman is pivot. They came out with completely different game plans, and then the Chiefs probably thought that we were going to do, because everybody in the Miami knows at this point is a run set first offense, but with them coming out throwing the ball and throwing it well early on, it's completely had the good Chiefs off balance in my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can even see it just here: 34 passes to 25 runs. I mean, that's usually flipped.
Yeah, exactly. Or more so. You probably have 40 runs, 25 passes, something like that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that definitely is definitely a flip, and it worked. I mean, because you can look at it. Quentin Johnston, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alad McConkey, 9 targets, 6 receptions, 74 yards. Keenan Allen with 10 targets, 7 receptions, 68 yards. Yes, indeed. And a touchdown. So yes, I mean, just that and alone with Tyler Conklin with 2 catches with 50 yards and 2 targets. So yeah, I know. I give Chamari Carter a lot of credit though. He put his nose right on that ball.
No, yeah, that was like Conklin had that thing fully covered up. There's nothing you could do. A helmet right on his hand, ball just squirts out.
Yeah,
fantastic play. Have to shout out McConkey. This type of play doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Yes,
fantastic wherewithal to just slap that thing out of bounds.
Yes, I would take a 10-yard penalty and keep the ball over them, letting them get it. Absolutely,
great day long. Yes, 100%.
They were bashing him in the commentary, saying that it was a young player mistake, but I don't think it was at all. I think it was smart.
Yeah, at that point, you're not trying to think about, I need to not make sure it goes forward. No, you're chucking that thing out of bounds. You're maintaining possession.
Right. Yeah. The offense keeps the ball goes out of bounds.
Correct. And I'm pretty sure we do end up, it might have been a field goal, but I do think we end up scoring points on that drive. Yeah. So that was a huge play from McConkey there.
Absolutely. So yes, definitely a good outing, and bar none for the stat wise, for sure. So let's get into the positive. Let's talk about it, man. First and foremost for me, the offensive line. I'm very impressed. They did give up 3 sacks, but I'm going to quantify by saying this. The 3 sacks they gave up, they only really gave up 1 in my opinion because they blitz heavy.
They
Zero
sent the
blitz
house.
them. They sent the house with True Tranquil twice to sack
Yep.
Herbert in certain key situations, and that's what Spag does. I talked to Alex about it, and he said the Spags, blitzes, heavily. That's just his MO. So, which we all know at this point, it wasn't a secret, but but the simple fact that they had to blitz to get 2 of those 3 sacks let you know that they held up really well, and you could see in certain spots and certain times in this ball game that they were having Justin Herbert back there with no pressure in his face at all. Like he was back there with 4, 5, 6 seconds in certain cases where he could just work and get the ball out of the field to over man. So, and then the secondary just can't cover that long. They were playing a lot of man, and we started to separate from them, especially with having the idea of Ladd and Keenan on stacked in a lot of cases. You just got to pick your poison. It was great, man. It was great. I give the offensive line a lot of kudos because we were all, kind of holding our breath to see whether the pass protection was going to hold up at all. Because we were worried. When Slater got hurt, we were like, man, what's going to happen to Justin Herbert? And then Mekhi Becton was sick. He might not play. Boy, we was shaking in our boots. So we was like, hope Justin Herbert doesn't get hurt. And not only did he not get hurt, but he had one of the best games of his life.
Hey, for a lot of people, they consider this his best game of his career. Just considering,
for him. A lot of people said that. Absolutely, yes.
A lot of people are saying this is like the game that propels him, this season. Now, after that game, you know how quick the media is. Oh, Herbert MVP season. It's like it's a whole lot of that. So, look, as Charger fans, obviously we temper all expectations here. It's just what we've been programmed to do, given the history of this franchise. So, I want to give Herbert his love. He played fantastic. Let's pipe down a little bit on the MVP talks and everything. All right. It was
the cart before the horse. Let's not do that.
Yeah, great first week. Huge win, no doubt about it. But let's pipe down on that. With that being said, Herbert 1000%. To your credit, the offensive line made this game happen for Herbert. He doesn't throw for 300 plus and rush for 30 plus, if not for the O-line. Trey Pipkins did a fantastic job at right tackle. Him and Becton look really solid on that right side of the line. I really can't think of a lot of pressure that came from the right side. I think most of it did come from the left. And like you mentioned, a lot of it
came from the right. Just Herbert.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, a lot of like, Trey Pippen gave up a lot of pressures. But what I talked about in prep for this is that they were going to line up Chris Jones against Trey Pipkin a lot, and that's what he did on third downs, on heavy pass downs. He lined it up Chris Jones against Trey Pipkins, and he got beat. But Justin Herbert, because that's not his blind side, he was able to see it and avoid it, either get under it or get around it, which he did in the last play to get around it and rush for that first down. So yes, Trey Pipkin had a rough day against Chris Jones, which, I mean, who doesn't?
But it's Chris Jones.
The only person that didn't have a rough day against Chris Jones was Joe Alt, because they lined him up against Joe Alt a couple of times, and boy, did Joe Alt shut him down.
Joe Alt didn't have a bad day against anyone.
No, he did not.
Joe Alt was manhandling whoever was in front of him.
They just put a fluffer over there on his side, and it was like, we'll just keep him occupied because we're not gonna get it past him. So that was it for that. That was it for that.
I want to since you brought up Alt, I want to say something here, Chargers fans. Rashawn Slater's days at left tackle, they're done, y'all.
You think?
When he comes back, they are not putting him back at left tackle. I guarantee when he comes back, they put him back.
He was just right tackle last year, though, so I don't know.
But hear me out. Slater's normal or primary position coming out of college was right tackle. He had over 1,000 snaps in Northwestern at right tackle.
He's paid like a left, though.
He is paid like a left, but I mean, you're gonna pay Alt like a left too. After this season, barring, I'm gonna knock on wood here as well. Right. Barring Alt getting hurt, of course. I mean, dude, he is just tailor-made to play left tackle. That size, that agility. I mean, look, I don't say this as like, oh, Slater's gonna be kicked out no, like, to have both those guys are your pillars. You better make sure
for the next 4 to 5 years for sure. At least
you better make sure that they try to retire Chargers, because you're gonna need them keeping Herbert up for if you're going to try to win some Super Bowls. But I digress.
Yes.
I truly.
We'll see how that goes down the road. I'm a little skeptical just for the money aspect of it, but I think that he's good either where you put him, in my opinion, at least from Joe Hall's perspective. So, but we'll see. I mean, they're going to try to make sure Rashawn's good with his legs before they do anything with him, once he comes back off that injury. But yeah, either way, I mean, he's just a wall of a man, Joe Hall is. He really is. Now, we can put to bed the argument about the neighbors versus alt conversation. We can put that to bed.
With McConkey that same year, that argument's over.
It's dead. It's dead. So speaking of offense, let's talk about Greg Roman. So Greg Roman, to me, I was very critical of him all preseason, all offseason, and even this week about his play calling. I felt like in certain cases, in certain spaces, it was very archaic, very past its quote unquote prime, or past its I guess you can say ability to run sustainable offense in the NFL, because he just hadn't been keeping up with the times. I'm almost ready to take that whole criticism back, because he not only did better from a play calling perspective in the pass game, he primarily passed, to your point earlier, and that was a complete shift in game plan that I thought that I didn't see coming, because I thought they were going to try to test and move the ball and kind of try to establish the run and then pass off of that like he typically does. But he came out throwing, like even the commentator was shocked, like Kurt Warner and Rich Eisen. They're throwing again. They're throwing again. They're throwing again. And he completely put the Chiefs on their heels, because I'm sure when their game plan paperwork would say that they did not expect them to throw the ball as much as they did. And they did it well. So that is Greg Roman for shifting his mindset for sure.
I think that's you have to give credit to Greg Roman in this situation, just recognizing where most of the talent, and not to say that the running back room isn't talented, but to recognize, okay, we're strong in these aspects. The Chiefs are strong defensively in these aspects. Where is the point of attack for us? And it's clearly your best player, Justin Herbert, and this trio now, which is crazy to say, of wide receivers that they know their role.
Quartet or quintet, because let's not act like Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith are chopped liver.
No.
It feel like that.
No. They are rookies. So I don't want to go out already and say like, we're gonna go 5 wide, every week.
Yeah, you're right.
But just this trio, but I've all played years in the league. They're all veterans, quote unquote, at this point. Lad, obviously not so much. He's only in his second year, but damn, couldn't tell. He plays like a vet, man. The way he gets open and those shifty routes he's running, man, and just him and Keenan, like, man, that's unfair. Man, that's just unfair to the DB.
And let's give ourselves some flowers, because you and I were both like, we need to bring Keenan back. And people were like, well, I don't know. He's going to take away from Land, this and that. They're like, he's not. And we saw how much of a difference it makes to have both of them on the field at the same time. You can stack them. You line them on all the opposite sides. You just got to deal with it. I mean, and it's not a whole lot of corners in this league that can cover them man to man. You got one. Matter of fact, one person you can't cover man to man. So now you got 2. So you just gotta pick your poison at this point.
And if you choose to double one of them, QJ has a chance to go 70 deep.
And he's likely going to get your third corner. That's gonna be barbecue chicken.
QJ against third string corners.
Yes, that's
love that matchup.
Absolutely.
Him against first string and that's where.
If he's facing Derek Stingley, I'll say 10 no. But if he's facing the third or fourth corner, then yes, I'll take those. All safeties for that perspective. Yes, I'll take those matchups all day. And they did a lot of smart things, and it's another one to getting him in space, like throwing him a short pass, to run after the catch, because that's his best attribute.
That his first catch of his 33-yard catch, not even a 5-yard pass, takes it across the screen up the field, and he's got speed, he's got yak ability. That we knew that coming out of college. That was never a concern.
Right. So yes, that kudos to that. And again, for at least 1 week, Quentin Johnson, I'm gonna give you flowers, sir. I'll give you flowers. I've been very critical of you as well. So yes,
very much. So.
So definitely kudos to you. Keep it up. Maybe you having those issues in camp or preseason kind of woke you up. That kind of thing. So we'll see.
Hey, 7 touchdowns last year. He's already got 2.
Hey, he's gonna get track. But again, he kind of fooled us last year. He started off well early in the season last year. He kind of fills it out. So hopefully he can improve and keep it and sustain it this time.
Yeah,
sustain it this time. I think that's the biggest thing. So yeah. I mean, what else can you say? That in that space, just him being good, and Justin Herbert, getting to the next point, Justin Herbert being Superman in this game. We didn't probably talked about that 3 times already. in that space. So his stat line was masterful. His quarterback rating, his QBR, all that good stuff. I mean, you can't play a much better game than that. And there's not many people out here outdueling Mahomes, and he's on that list now. He's on that
Yeah.
list now. And were you gonna say something else before we move on?
Oh yeah, it was just really quickly you were mentioning about the quartet or the quintuples of wide receiver rooms. I think where Trey Harris and KLS are going to be big contributors is if and when, again, knocking on wood, injuries can sometimes arise. We know Keenan has sometimes missed time in the past.
Yes.
Ladd missed some games last year in his rookie year. So I think that is when most and more of their value is going to come out. Not obviously when you have those vets on the field, because when they're there and healthy, that's a tough trio to take off the field, And right. Trey Harris did come in for a couple of snaps, have one nice catch for a first down. So yeah, I'm excited. Very excited for this wide receiver room.
And think about it like this. They had a healthy stretch for Rondé Gaskins. He hadn't even played yet. So yeah, we got good problems to have right now. That's for sure.
And like Conklin, dude. I mean, again, barring the fumble, but 2 catches, 50 yards. You take that all day.
And we hadn't had a good tight end. They've been able to do that in quite some time since Hunter Henry. So
Disley can go back to blocking. His primary, what we brought him over to do.
That's it.
Love it.
Love it. All right. So for me, again, just running sustainable offense. I talked about that earlier in the box score segment. Not getting stagnant in the second and third quarters. Literally moving the ball and keeping the chains moving and things of that nature. Keeping the Chiefs defense on the field and tiring them out. That was good for them. Run defense for the Chargers was really good. I mean, they held the running backs down. I think Pacheco only had a couple of decent runs, but everybody else was pretty much shut down. Only person that had a decent rushing game and led the team in rushing, ironically, was Patrick Mahomes, and I was on scrambles. So yeah, I think you can put a feather in the cap for the run defense this week that they were good, and the defense on third downs for me. I think the defense was really good on third down. They did a lot. First, I had to get them off the field quite a few times on third down. Put them in third and long, because that's another key to the victory I underscored, is that earn the right to rush the passer, get after Mahomes, and make them get off the field on third down. And that was going to be a key to winning the game. And they did it. They did it, man. So anything you want to add up to the positives before we move on?
Yeah, just kind of, I guess this could somewhat be kind of a nice shift as we go into the negatives after this. But like you mentioned, great on third downs. In that first half, I don't think we allowed a single third down conversion in that first half of the game. Opened up the second half, I think we allowed like 5 straight third down conversions.
More so fourth down. The fourth downs was killing us.
And that's just what I was about to say, is those fourth down conversions really killed us. They were 3 for 3 on those, including the back-breaking one, which this is the good time for us to dive into the negatives, I feel like.
Yes.
That was inexcusable what happened on that 4th and 7 to what essentially was going to end the game for you guys. If you get a stop, you get a blown coverage, and I think it was Molden who kind of left his spot deep to try to chase Mahomes for whatever reason. You have 2 linebackers and a D lineman chasing him there. There's no way he's going to make it past any of those guys. Why are you abandoning your zone to come up and try to make a tackle? Whatever, it didn't matter, but that is going to be, I guarantee you, Minter is going to pop up that video. First thing, this needs to not happen again.
You see this? Yeah, stay back there. Do not come up. Do not come up, especially when the Khalil Mack was chasing. Khalil Mack got instant pressure inside, flushed Mahomes to the sideline, and if he just stayed back there and didn't give him ability to throw it to Thornton, then guess what? That would have been a sack, because he had nowhere to go.
He would just ran out of bounds.
That's it. And he had nowhere to go. So yes, that definitely was it is week 1. You had your mistakes, and the starters hadn't played much. So kind of work out the kinks, work out the rust. That is probably on the list of improvements that we can throw on there.
Oh yeah.
In regards to that, but outside of that, I think the pass rush is. We argued this. You and I both have been screaming this to the heavens to say that our pass rush needs to get better and faster, because we just have issues with mobile quarterbacks, and Mahomes isn't. He isn't Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but he can scoot if he needs
move.
He can move if he needs to. So, if we can't corral him, guys like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, those guys will give us fits. So
thankfully, you don't got to play any of them in the regular season. But you're most likely gonna probably have to play one or both of them come playoff.
We will see Jay Daniels and Jalen Hurts, though.
This is true. You're going to
Yes.
see the NFC side of the running quarterbacks.
There you go. So yeah, that's the only hiccup.
Yeah.
But what I like about Jesse Minter's scheme, this is a little bit of a defensive nerd moment for me. Now, what he did was on heavy third downs, in the I guess you can say second and third quarter. And this is where Dayon got that sack. He was rushing three and spying Dayon against Mahomes. I mean, Dayon is we talking a 4.5 40 linebacker. So he ran Mahomes down with no issue. So I was like, that is complete and utter genius by Minter.
Totally agree. Why didn't he do it more?
That's a good point.
I was wondering, like, in the second half, I'm like, why is Henley not spying Mahomes?
Every time. Yeah.
As soon as I saw Henley make that sack, I'm like, he is permanent spy on Mahomes.
Yes.
Fix the coverage and everything else. He needs to be a permanent fixture on Mahomes because, like you mentioned, Mahomes is not he's not a running QB, but he is a mobile QB, and he can get out of the pocket. He can pick up 10, 15 yards. We've seen him pick up freaking 20, 30 yards sometimes when there's enough space. He can move. So that is, it didn't kill us this time around. Obviously, we still got the win, but that is something we 100% need to take into account next time.
Gotta clean that up for sure. And I think that the Denzel Perman injury is a question because I think that they kind of backed off of it a little bit because Dayon is not only good at spying, but he's a really good cover linebacker. So he was trying to utilize him in coverage at certain points to kind of keep them from getting short passes off, which allow for Mahomes to kind of get free and scramble up the middle sometimes to get on the edge. So that was, it was a cat and mouse game. When on those crucial times I needed to keep him in the pocket or keep him from scrambling, I did it. But sometimes I just needed to play zone on the back end to keep the middle from being, wide open. So that's when you kind of had a delineation. Do I need him in cover? Do I need him to spy? So that's why I argued that we needed another inside linebacker because again, Denzel Perman is good, not that great in coverage. He's good against the run, and he's injury prone, and he's hurt again. So that's my only issue with that is I really feel like that if we could add one more guy, and maybe Marlo Wax could be that guy, maybe he could be the spy. He's got a decent, foot speed, so maybe he can be the one. Let Dayon play coverage and let Marlo Wax, spy the quarterback, and that may be a fix that Justin Miller can implement, but we'll see. But outside of that, man, I think that's one of the things that was a negative. I think sometimes on early downs we play a little bit of soft zones. That was my concern about playing a lot of zone, getting a lot of free early quick passes to kind of keep them in second and third and short, which was a little bit of an issue. And of course, you brought up that blown coverage that we had. We had a couple of them, that kind of extended drives or extended the games, allowed to keep them in the game where we could have completely shut the door on them. So I think those are some resounding negatives. Anything you want to add to this before we get moving on to the improvements?
Yeah, I guess maybe potentially another great segue into the next segment. Talking about that blown fourth down coverage in which basically kept the Chiefs in the game. To then I obviously that was a horrible play and that sucks to give up. But then to flip right around, I give massive credit to that defense to not break in that moment. They bucked up, gave up only a field goal, and really kind of recaptured a lot of that momentum because it felt like when that catch happened, I think all Chargers fans were like, "Oh,
the air could have got sucked out of the room." Then I think a lot
real
of people
quick
holding their breath, like, "Oh my God, what is going to happen now?
We're doing it again," is what I think a lot of people thought in that moment.
Somebody thought this might have started the engine on the charging train. So yes,
yep,
I definitely agree with that.
Very, very nice to see them, squash that fire or snuff that fire out before.
Yeah, that's been good. They showing the same moxie and prowess that they had last year in that scoring defense. Scoring defense was top notch in the league last year, and they definitely were very good in the red zone, in their own red zone. So yes, I definitely like that, and that definitely is something that hopefully will continue throughout the regular season. So I guess from improvements from my perspective, I guess you can say them controlling the line of scrimmage and run game again. Kudos to the Chiefs' run defense. It was really good. Now, I'm hoping that was the reasoning why the Chargers had issues running the ball, that their run defense had been stout for the last 2 years. Give Spagnuolo a lot of credit. They're able to run the ball on other teams, and I was just going to say we're just going to just be a line in the sand that the Chiefs just have a really good front seven, in that space. But outside of that, we need to do better at controlling the line of scrimmage in the running game because we're going to need it. At certain points, certain times, certain spaces, you're just going to need to be able to run the ball and close the game out. Whether Purdy throws 300 yards every game or not, he's going to need a solid running game to close things out. And so we have to depend on him to do everything every single time because no quarterback, how great they are, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, anybody, any of those names, they always had a decent run game to close things out when they needed to call on it. And that's what he needs to do that, to have that going forward so he can close those games out and not have all that pressure on him in any, space, any tight game for my money. Yeah, so
no, totally agree.
yeah, and Trey Pipkins pass protection because he gave him a lot of olays against Chris Jones and a few others. So he gotta improve that somehow, some way, or give him some help. But I don't want to get it to a point where the running back's going to help on him and they're going to try to stunt and blitz on other places and get free on other areas because they know that Trey Pipkins is going to be the weak link and going to get help every single time. Maybe do some chipping with some tight ends and let them slow release and do things of that nature to kind of keep Trey Pipkins, from giving up quick pressures on Justin Herbert's right side. Penalties, especially holding calls. It was a few, a couple of plays where they held Chris Jones a couple of times because they knew if they didn't, it was going to be bad for Justin Herbert. So I guess I can live with it, but hopefully we can clean it up going forward. I think that was a thing that needs to be cleaned up. And of course, ball security for Tyler Conklin. I mean, I give Chamari Conner all the credit in the world. He made a perfect football play, but we got to hold on to the football. That's the only thing that I think that was, kind of like a gut wrenching moment for us that had we lost that fumble for sure. And situational football for Mario Hampton. Running out of bounds and keeping the drive going in the first half. Instead of stopping the clock, I should say. He'll learn from that. Marshawn Lynch even talked to him right after that happened and told him, hey, you got to stay in bounds on that and keep the clock running so they don't get the ball back in the second quarter so they can get points for sure. You don't want to give Mahomes any time. You like Patrick, like Tom Brady. You don't want to leave the time on the clock for sure.
Yeah, and I think, obviously Amari Hampton first game, he's going to learn. He's a rookie. I'm not worried about it. It's one of those mental mistakes that you almost expect a rookie to make. It's just like you mentioned, situational football, and Harbaugh tried to kind of absorb some of that blame, saying that's on us. We got to let him know in that situation to go out or to stay in bounds, stuff like that. But you saw Harbaugh on the sideline, kind of frustrated. I think as a running back, you are kind of you should know that just mentally kind of have understanding like where we're at in the game. It's a possession game at this point. Clock's on our side. We're trying to drain it. But like I said, rookie, he's gonna learn. I'm not worried one little bit. It didn't cost us, and that's ultimately what you have to hope for. Is when you do make those mistakes, you learn from them, and they don't end up costing you when you make them.
Good point. Okay. But yeah, overall, I think it was some a net positive. Obviously, you can't travel much or nothing when you get a W, especially against a good team. But
vibes wise, we are through the roof.
Listen, Twitter is ablaze, and so is Instagram. So yes, it is definitely a good vibes only for sure. But I think they go back into practice this week and kind of clean up these issues. Along with a few other things, they can tidy up against the Raiders, man, and it should be a good one. But so speaking of the Raiders, man, Monday Night Football coming up this next week, game 2 in Las Vegas. So, we're going to be looking forward to that. Hopefully we can get another W, have 2 divisional wins on our belt, going into week 3 against the Broncos. That's going to probably be the toughest matchup we're going to have, out of those first 4 games. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, man, anything you want to add for the Raiders game before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, just like you mentioned, definitely very excited for this game. We'll obviously be, doing our predictions and what we think is going to be happening in this game in a later video. But, I do like the Chargers in this game. Got a mini bye after this Friday game to, the following Monday. So like you said, I like these guys to have a nice solid week of practice. They're going to clean up a lot of stuff in this game. I think this game showed us a lot. At the end of the day, y'all, Chargers fans, enjoy this one. We deserve it. This was a massive, massive win and a great way to start the season. Harbaugh, 6-0 in season openers, man. That's a pretty massive stat. Starting off hot. Big Jim.
Big Jim. That's it. That is it. Not Slim Jim, but Big Jim. That's it.
So with that all being said, bolt up as always. Very excited for this season, boys.
Absolutely. So yes, if you're looking for us any facet on social media, here's our handles for all the social media platforms out there, and they're all the popular ones. Electric Shock Pod on all platforms, especially even Gmail. We got email addresses if people want to send us an email. Yeah, man. So, like you said, we're gonna be back, throughout the week, giving our reviews on what we feel like is gonna happen with the Raiders game. We're gonna be previewing that. We're gonna do a lot of things in that space. But yeah, man, great showing for the Chargers week 1 and keep the momentum going. Hopefully we can stay healthy. And man, it's the sky's the limit, man. We can do that. So I'm liking what we have going on, and if the O-line holds up this well, I got a good feeling about this season, how things can turn out. So yeah, man, looking forward to week 2 and get the Raiders, and you know what it is, man. It's always about with Raiders week. Like it's always a good time. It's
Family,
always a good
trust, and
time.
respect.
That's it. FTR all day, man.
FTR all day, baby.
Indeed, man. But like RG said, no, we all got to do one thing and one thing well. You always got to remember to vote up.